be a different thing. So they upload it, and then sometimes they can just put it in a place that is not visible. But that's not even a problem. Sometimes they don't. It's not even promoting on social media. It's not even Twitter. So then I noticed that.
Whatever they can do is our friend. I know the questions. They told us it's not another next week. And the timeline as well is that you have to get this done. Trump is disrupting. Is disrupting the life.
On Endangered Species Conservation and Protection Bill 2024 happening in 2025. Of course, this event is being put together by Channels Academy with great sponsorship and support from Wild Africa Funds. In fact, the list is endless. We have the American government, we have EIA, that's Environmental Investigation Agency. We have Wild Africa Fund and ANI. Did I get it right?
Any foundation, yeah.
Any foundation, right. So it's my great pleasure to welcome you. Channels Academy is very proud to associate with the Wild Africa Fund in putting this discussion and training together. So in the next 6-7 hours, if I may say so, we would interact. We'll talk about those issues that affect Wild Africa, that affect issues around endangered species, and then the environment and all of that, and the role the media should play in making sure that we bring issues around this phenomenon to the fore. So I welcome all of you, and I hope that we will have a great day. Please, let me invite my dear friend to come over and introduce himself, and then we all make our introductions.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm not easy to take over from you.
Come on.
Spend the bulk of my life writing, not speaking. Yeah, so my name is Linus Luna, oversee the operations for Wild Africa in Nigeria and Ghana. Some of the faces here are really familiar. I mean, people we've worked with for the last 4 to 5 years. So really super excited to see all of you here. I wasn't going to give it a very long speech, but I just want to say it's really, really exciting because I think we all, one, I'm a journalist. I think I describe myself as one, so it's usually very exciting to share a meal, I would describe, or have a share space like this with people who come from the same industry and people who understand the crucial, critical role they play when it comes to shaping conversations, whether locally, regionally, or internationally, well, nationally, I think in this case, and the role we play in setting the agenda for the public and throwing out the key issues that we want people to talk about. I think the overall goal here is not necessarily to train. I think it sounds like a bit more complicated, but to have a conversation around, in particular, the bill you have here. Forgive me, Wilson, if I call it law sometimes. I think for people who don't have a background, sometimes you can go from bill to law, but you have to be patient enough until it's passed before you call it a law. But yeah, to have a conversation around this bill and more broadly wildlife trafficking and wildlife and to understand the roles, I think we're already doing that, or how can we do it better? I think that's the overall goal of it here. How can we improve on what we're doing already? How can we improve the quality of our reporting? How can we produce better stories? And so it's a forum, I would describe it as one where we're meeting to have an informal conversation, learn from each other, and live better than we came in. So thank you very much. Super, really excited to be here with all of you, and I think hand it over to Mr. Innocent to introduce himself.
Good morning all. I'm Innocent. I represent the Federal Radio Profession of Nigeria. I'm actually the one in charge of the environment desk. So I look forward to a very insightful discussion. You know, when the bill was passed by the rep, the noise was too much. People were, like so many stories, things like that. So I can take the momentum from here. Thank you.
Good morning, all. My name is Wilson Oboki. I am Wildlife Policy Coordinator at AMI Foundation. AMI Foundation is a Nigerian civil society organization that works to support wildernesses, national parks, working through national parks in the country, and we are working together with Wild Africa Fund and other partners to support this project.
You could describe me as your friend. Yeah. Wilson has been, he's based out of Abuja and has, I would say, been the soldier on the ground driving the whole process. He's the one that goes to the national. That's his second command.
Distinguished.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm Chinedu. The manager of the media. I also work on the
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sunil, environmental reporter, Sahara Reporters. Thank you.
Best ever, I felt like that.
Good morning, all. My name is Ajibola Adi, right, for environment.
So my name is Anthony Afemike Vigil. I work with African Independent on this production business editing.
Just say AIT, this African listening becomes a bit confusing. Like, is there a new channel now?
Good morning, everyone. I am Mrs. Dixon Endangered, founding editor, Trading News and Communication Network. I'm here for ECOSOC. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Dipo Oladende. I work with Business Day, and glad to be here and eager to learn as well.
Did you bring some dollars?
Yes.
I think we can shoot straight to the market.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Festus Jura, the Nigerian editor at Wild Africa. Nice to be here.
Good morning. I'm Ayola Kasim, head of programs and environment correspondent at Chance. It's nice seeing you all.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. Mark, veterinarian, Nigerian Rep, Wild Africa.
Mr. Kamara, we won't leave you. Thank you. Photographer. All right. Thanks for joining. Yeah, thank you so much. I think we still have some people who are like trying to make their way here, but we'll have to get started, and hopefully they join us. I think the first item on the agenda is my colleague Dr. Mark would be sharing his experience with us in terms of the key environmental threats that we're dealing with today, whether that be habitat destruction, deforestation a bit related, I mean, it's the same thing, I think, and wildlife crime itself. Feel free to stop him at any point to ask questions, and Dr. Mark will encourage you to make this super informal and conversational. Over to you. I think in terms of time, really, they keep a very strong eye on that, but 15-20 minutes max. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linus. Thank you. Good day, everyone. Pleasure to be here. I don't know, with everybody here being a journalist, I feel I'm being judged.
You're being reported.
Yes, I'm being judged. Everything you say, moving. All right, so we're here for this occasion. The topic is understanding environmental threat, wildlife crime, deforestation, and habitat destruction. Now, I think personally that one reason why wildlife crime is underreported is because we do not really see, because it's not in our face, we do not attach importance to it. And by we, I mean every cadre, from the government making the laws, enforcing, to news reporting and all that. Even if we look at the percentage of time that is dedicated to reporting environmental matters, you see it's very small. And that's because we do not see the import. It doesn't hit us, you know. We do not see the big circle of how this little everyday event turn full circle to affect us. The slide is a bit lengthy. I won't go through everything, but I will make it available. I will encourage you to go through on your own, so you get a picture, you see what it is. Next slide, please. So dealing with wildlife crime, deforestation, habitat destruction. Next slide. Now, what I want to point out here, wildlife crime involves illegal activities. So if there is illegal activities, then there are also legal activities, and the ability to differentiate between these is very key. It's even sad because you see some government agencies in charge of the environment that do not differentiate between legal and illegal. And then when you arrest somebody, or you talk about somebody who is doing the legal part of it, and then the guys just know it's legal and covered by law, it kind of throws a shade to everything you now report afterwards. So let's learn to differentiate the legal and from the illegal. For example, bushmeat. There are some bushmeat that the law is, I mean, it's okay, you know, and all that. But there are some there that when you touch, you are a criminal. So it's very, very important differentiating between those. Next slide, please. Okay, so the impact of wildlife crime. Next slide. I said I shouldn't take that. All right, so you will have all these to go through the impact of wildlife crime. Loss of biodiversity, ecosystem disruption, habitat destruction. Next slide. But there's really one part I want us to deal with. Revenue loss, we do not see that aspect of it. Job losses, we do not see that aspect of it. Opportunity cost, we do not see those aspects of it. Next slide. There's social impact also, which we don't see even in our reporting. The livelihood, human-wildlife conflict, how poaching, logging, deforestation brings some of this wildlife in contact with humans, and then there's that conflict. The hippopotamus saga that happened last year is one of them. Then there's a public health risk. We haven't forgotten COVID-19 pandemic and how it shook us. Next slide. Then this is another aspect that we don't see before, organized crime. How illegal wildlife proceeds is used to fund organized crime. They did research and they found out that it's usually at the top, you know, it's a pyramid, illegal wildlife crime. At the bottom, the white base, you have the hunters, the bushmeat sellers and all that. These guys really know very little. They just know to get the meat from the bush to the table, or, you know, then they pass it on. But at the top, they found out that the guys at the top, they're usually very few, like a pyramid. They are few, number one. And these guys have very strong ties to organized crime and terrorism. So all these proceeds that we are allowing to go on, the money goes ultimately to fund terrorism. And who do the terrorists terrorize? Society, you and that. So it covers those that comes from national security, regional instability. In short, it's been said that anywhere you see a regional instability thriving, there's usually something of interest in that area. It's either minerals or wildlife or something, you know. Now the drivers of wildlife crime, of course, there's high demand for exotic meat. In Nigeria, consumption of bush meat is an exotic taste and all that. There's weak law enforcement and corruption. I don't think I need to emphasize that. Now, drivers of wildlife crime, this poverty card is something we like to play. You don't talk about wildlife crime and people don't talk about poverty. I personally, I don't believe it. Because I found out that the purveyors of wildlife crime at the bottom of the pyramid, it's not poverty. I coined another word for it, greed. Because every of them that I have interacted with, they have an alternate job or source of livelihood. So, but this wildlife crime, it just gives you a route to easy money. You don't farm, you don't medicate, you just shoot and then you're in business, you know. So next slide. How to combat wildlife crime? Stronger laws, which is why we're here. Community and education, which is why we're here. International cooperation, awareness creation, and public education, which is why we're here. Deforestation, of course, destruction of forests. You're not touching the animals, you're touching their homes. You destroy their homes, you destroy their numbers. Certain animals, like the Egyptian vulture, only, for example, breed on the Eki tree, a particular species of tree. So if you wipe out that tree, you wipe out that species of animal and all that. Elephants, for example, they need large expanse of land to roam. Now, if you cut the forest up into tiny patches like we have, you have affected the animals. Next slide. There's also the environmental impact, loss of biodiversity, climate change acceleration, disruption of water cycles. Recently, the Oyo State government, I don't know if they went ahead with it, the Ogunba forest. They cleared the Ogunba forest that's been there forever to housing, to build houses, to ensure their future. Just wait. In a little while, you'll begin to hear stories. Because that forest played a very critical role. We did a research in Cross River State, and we heard one of the locals told me that there was a landslide that covered the village. We didn't hear it in the news. Why? Because the trees were all removed, and then there was a landslide. So these forests, they play ecological roles that we don't see. Prevent flooding and all that. And when you clear them, you begin to see this impact. Next slide. Of course, there is socio-economic consequence, the impact to the indigenous community, loss of livelihood, economic consequence of degradation. Next slide. Solutions: afforestation, sustainable use, corporate responsibility, and Nigeria.